Introduction. My story. James Clear was accidentally hit in his head by his friend at the last day of high school. Nurse started asking him a series of questions like, what year is it and who is the President of United States of America? He answered wrongly to all of the questions since the injuries were heavy. When asked about what is his mother's name, James needed 10 seconds just to recall what is the name of his mother. His condition got even worse. He had 3 seizures in a day and he was moved from local hospital to the larger, better equipped hospital. He lost his breath before being put in a helicopter. After helicopter landed on a helipad on the roof of a hospital, 3rd seizure came and James was put into a coma. 10 years before unfortunate event, his sister was diagnosed with leukemia in the same hospital. After 2.5 years of proper medical treatment, his sister walked out of the hospital healthy and cancer-free. This time priest and social worker joined his parents in a difficult moment where the main subject was James. Luckily, the very next morning, James woke up out of a coma and he brought back his breathing. James was released from the coma and he regained his consciousness, but he lost his ability to smell. As a test, he sniffed apple juice box and he returned smelling senses, but his left eye bulged out because of how hard he blew his nose out during a test. He was scheduled for a surgery and he returned home with visible facial fractures and injuries. James went through physical therapy to bring back his walking in order. 1 year later, after hard work on his recovery, James returned to the baseball field. He was sent down to play with sophomores on junior varsity because of the time gaps caused by his condition, although he belonged to the higher league according to his age. He managed to play slightly more than 1 game in 1 year-long period. James was devastated. New beginning started 2 years after the injuries happened when James enrolled in college. He learned about how to develop the habits during his college years. While his peers used to play video games in the late night, James on the other side started developing good sleeping habits. He went to the bed early and he kept his room neat and tidy. He earned straight A's during his first year of a college. Habit is defined as a routine or behavior that is performed regularly and in many cases automatically. He lifted weights multiple times a week and managed to go from featherweight 170 to 200 lean pounds. James earned many accomplishments during his 6 years long studies. Small changes compound into the remarkable results if we stick with these changes over a long period of time. With the same habits, you will end up with the same results. With better habits, anything is possible. James had a long series of small wins and tiny breakthroughs. He published articles about habits building on his website and he rapidly grew his email list. In 2015, James signed a deal with Penguin Random House to begin writing Atomic Habits. His deals compounded because of his large fan base and his previous deal. He spoke about habit formation, behavior change, and continuous improvement at the top companies. James became a successful public speaker too as a result of his impactful writings. He taught his teachings about better habits to the leaders and employees of Fortune 500 companies. James is teaching what he is living. Better habits work for everyone, but not everyone is willing to build them. Building habits has snowballing effect, and over time small habits lead to massive results. Habits are everywhere and applicable for every part of your life. Atomic habits work great for building learning habits as an example, but the teachings and skills from this book are transferable not only to all of the universities, but also to all of the companies, businesses, and life in general. Some of the habits are automatic and you do them without realizing that you are a habitual creature. James developed a 4-step model of habits which are cue, craving, response and reward, and the 4 laws of behavior change that evolve out of these steps. Chapter 1. The Surprising Power of Atomic Habits. Dave Brailsford was hired as a new performance director for British Cycling Association in 2003. At that time, British cyclists didn't win any Tour de France trophies for about 110 years. He had a strategy of aggregation of marginal gains. Tiny margin of improvement in anything you do is a theory behind that strategy. Brailsford taught how each 1% improvement in riding a bike leads to overall better performances. Dave and his coaching team started implementing smaller changes at the beginning. They designed better seats to make them more comfortable for bike riders, team tested various fabrics, and they implemented many more improvements. At 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing, British cyclists won 60% of the gold medals available. In 2012, at the Olympic Games in London, British cycling team achieved 9 Olympic records and 7 world records. Achievements and medals continued in the following years. From 2007 to 2017, British cyclists won 178 World Championships and 66 Olympic or Paralympic gold medals and captured 5 Tour de France victories. Small improvements need to be made on a daily basis. Get 1% better each day and you will achieve more at the end of a year instead of implementing one big earth-shattering improvement hoping that it will better your outcome faster. Small and slow improvements win the race because they compound and lead to massive results in the end, but one massive change can be considered as counterproductive and oftentimes unrealistic. Massive changes lean towards the big expectations and even bigger disappointments. Putting 100k into an index fund compounds and after 25 years brings massive gains, but at the moment of putting 100k into an index fund on the first day, changes are almost invisible, but your small habit of investing improves each day by the effects of compound interest and over time your investment grows. Same is with losing weight. Getting into the ketosis might seem like a daunting process, but body adapts after few weeks on a keto diet where the proteins are the main diet's ingredient and on the other side carbs are lowered to the max. High fat, high protein but low carbohydrates diet lead to massive results by visible drops in weight after few weeks of sticking to ketogenic diet. For losing fat from abdominal region, then 3 times a week of core workout with reps till failure along with the 4 times a week of strength training for 1 year brings massive and visible results. These results cannot be seen on your abs after only 3 weeks since going back to the gym, but they will be visible after 1 year period with unexpected core growth at the end of the 12th month. Starting working out is a small improvement, but habit of continuing with proper workout routine and sticking to it over a long period of time inevitably leads to the great overall physique. 1% bad decisions and replicating bad habits each day lead on the other side to massive downfall. Bad eating habits, if repeated each day, will lead to gaining weight and unhealthy physique. Just like the tiny good habits compound each day, tiny bad habits compound each day too. Solution is to stick with 1% improvement each day by implementing solely good habits that can be acquired by small but positive changes each day. Those habits are powerful because they are a part of the larger systems. Success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations. James believes that your current trajectory is even more important than your current results. Saving money and spending less than earned is surely a good habit. Learn how the habits work and how to design them to your liking. Be prone to lifelong learning and reading. Everything compounds either positively, either negatively, depending on your habits. Progress is not linear and path to self-improvement can be quite frustrating. You need to be prepared for delayed gratification. Plateau of latent potential breaks if we stick long enough with the good habits over time. The reason why world has too little overachievers is because the overachievers were bothered with trajectory more than with the outcomes. Systems precede the goals, so put focus on the systems that will get you to your goals. According to 3-time Super Bowl winner Bill Walsh, the score takes care of itself. This happens naturally and logically if a system is right. Chapter 2. How your habits shape your identity and vice versa. Good habits are harder to sustain than the bad habits. Bad habits are more repeatable and they do not require much effort or discipline. Bad habits are leading to instant gratification. There are 3 levels at which change can occur. Three levels of behavior change are a change in your outcomes, change in your processes, or a change in your identity. Changing your results is associated with the goals like losing weight or publishing a book. Changing your process is concerned with changing your habits and systems. Implementing a new workout routine at the gym is an example of this layer. Third layer is about changing your beliefs, your worldview, your self-image, your judgments about yourself and others. If you want to improve yourself, then be ready to make some changes in what you get, what you do, and what you believe. We become who we want to be if we put identity-based habits into the practice. Two persons can reject drinking with different excuses. They change their mindset about drinking alcoholic beverages. In other words, their beliefs about alcohol changed, no matter the excuses they have used to reject drinking alcohol. If you set your good habits around your identity, then they will become a part of your identity. This needs to be done to the point of minimizing or totally reducing bad habits and slip-ups. Your capabilities are strongly tied to forming identity-based habits. Being a politician is someone's professional identity, and the same politician puts the habits into the practice by attending assembly meetings, TV shows, rallies, and so on. Outcome is not the same for all of the politicians. Some politicians will never be elected as the presidents of their states, no matter how hard they try. On the other side, those who were consistently showing up and who didn't believe so much in winning the elections, after some time of putting identity-based habits into the practice, became the presidents because their identity-based habits compounded and voters found them as the best candidates for serious and responsible political roles such as presidential runs. Sensitive topic like changing money habits will improve or diminish your identity. If you are a steady consumer, then your identity will be diminished, but if you are a steady creator, then you can earn from your creative endeavors and your identity will improve. Habits shape your identity and vice versa. Your identity shapes your habits because you are now in the position to sustain your habits easier by coming from a place of developed identity. Financially free person has more chances to become healthy person than a person who is burned out. Financially free person has better time management than a person who stays on a job more than needed, and financially free person is in a position to earn more money than a person who works from 9 to 5 including graveyard shifts and weekends. Rich people become richer and healthy people become healthier. They are using all of the three or some of the three layers of behavior changes mentioned earlier in this chapter. Brian Clark, entrepreneur from Boulder, Colorado, used to chew his fingernails for years. At one point, he quit his bad habit of chewing fingernails by applying mindfulness. He changed his former identity from being a fingernails chewer to becoming engrossed with chewing his fingernails, and he did it by applying good habit of stopping chewing the fingernails. Changing his habit resulted in a changed identity, plus the good habit became a part of his identity. Writing each day 2 pages of a brand new novel, for an example, gives enough material after a couple of months to complete a book ready to be published. This system is surely slow and steady, but it leads to a habit of writing and eventually becoming a writer. Outcome changes by using a change in a process. Think about what kind of a person you want to become and who you want to be. Give your identity priority over the results. Celebrate small wins and let good habits become a part of your identity. Do not bother yourself with winning a marathon, bother yourself with becoming a runner. That is how good identity is formed through long continuous repetitions of the good habits. Be driven about becoming someone instead of having something. Work on your identity. Becoming is the key. Chapter 3. How to build better habits in 4 simple steps. In 1898, Thorndike made a study about habits formation. He studied the behavior of cats. He put cats into a puzzle box with doors that can be easily opened by a simple act. Cats were trying to escape the puzzle box, and after few attempts they finally made it. Action of pressing the lever led to the bowl full of food as a reward. Behavior became habitual, and Cat 12 needed less and less seconds to perform an action. Thorndike described the learning process by stating that the behaviors followed by satisfying consequences tend to be repeated, and those that produce unpleasant consequences are less likely to be repeated. Feedback loop behind all human behavior is to try, fail, learn, and try differently. Habits form through practice. According to Jason Rear, habits are simply reliable solutions to recurring problems in our environment. Process of building a habit requires 4 steps such as cue, craving, response, and reward. Cats were curious why they were put into the puzzle box in the first place. They craved to get out of the box, back to the environment where their movements were not limited. They built a response through formation of good habit, which was opening the door as an example. After exiting a puzzle box, food waited for the cats as a reward. Cats received feedback from their brain, and they formed habitual behavior shortly after. Cats learned how to escape the puzzle box faster. They learned to use experience by reducing errors from their memory to the point of not making errors. Once people become free thinkers, then the magic happens. Habits are building freedom. 4 stages of habit building are actually known as a feedback loop. It is that cycle that goes from cue, craving, response, and reward back to the beginning cycle, but with a formed habit, since this repeated behavior went through all of the 4 stages. We will go back to the beginning of a cycle if reward was fulfilling enough. First 2 stages address the problem, and the last 2 stages address the problem solving. Full cycle is needed for repeated behavior. Cue triggers a craving which motivates a response which provides a reward which satisfies the craving and ultimately becomes associated with the cue. How to form good habits? As for the cue, make it obvious. As for the craving, make it attractive. As for the response, make it easy. And as for the reward, make it satisfying. How to break the bad habits? Just invert the good habits by making them invisible, unattractive, hard, and unsatisfying. Good design of a logo on a chocolate bar that is put into premium package starts the cycle. Cue triggers a craving for chocolate, precisely a feeling that chocolate gives. We are motivated to eat chocolate because of its taste and not because of chocolate. Commercials are instilling those cravings into us with repetitive ads. It has been like that for decades and decades. Supermarkets are putting chocolate bars in front of our eyes on the shelves, which are easy to reach by the hands since they are positioned traditionally on the positions of lower or medium heights, with the final goal for the chocolate bars to be ultimately grabbed into the same hands. Full cycle repeats when you are buying the same chocolate over and over again. Industry knows whole psychology behind neurological feedback loop, so it is easy for food industry to create, promote, sell and make the profit of the chocolate bars consumers. Film industry knows psychology behind feedback loop too. People do not like violence in the Tarantino's movies, but they are still watching his movies. Every time when he puts a film out, there is a buzz and noise around his next blockbuster. You see a film poster and actors line up. Then you go to buy a ticket to watch the movie. You get some popcorn or other snacks to satisfy all of the cravings at the moment. Then you watch a whole film in a movie theater. When the movie is finished, you go to the nearest restaurant or McDonald's to eat even more. After 1 week, you repeat the same behavior on the same place with watching similar movie. Congratulations, your consumer habits are formed. Chapter 4. The Man Who Didn't Look Right. Psychologist Gary Klein told a story to James about a woman who attended a family gathering. She saw her father-in-law and she, as a paramedic, didn't like the way he looked. He jokingly responded to her that he didn't like her look either. A few hours later, he was in the hospital where he underwent through a surgery because medical analysis revealed that he was under an immediate risk of a heart attack. Through watching many similar cases in her practice, she intuitively recognized that something was wrong with her father-in-law. Human brain is a prediction machine. Your mind is not only consisting of a conscious part but also of a subconscious part. Only 5% of a brain is conscious. Some of your actions and judgments might happen automatically without thinking or planning. Habits can be useful and dangerous depending on how a habit is formed. Habits are formed through a feedback loop even when we are not aware that the habit formation is occurring and going through all of the 4 stages such as cue, craving, response, and reward. Clear is explaining how habits are formed when your actions are coming under the direction of your automatic and unconscious mind. Old patterns stick with a person much longer than the person realizes it. Old habits, even inappropriate ones, are manifesting by default. What is appropriate in one environment might not be appropriate in other environment. Bad habits need to be removed from a particular behavior through reprogramming a mind. We are used to have TVs in our houses. Himalayan monks do not have any mobile phones in their rooms. They do not have bad habits. Their longevity is astounding and they live longer than the people in the other parts of the world. Bad habits are common among people in the big industrial cities and regions. It is normalized for a single European person to have 2 mobile phones, 1 laptop and a TV. That is a common ground for overstimulation. We must differ normal behavior from normalized behavior. Remove the bad habits through behavior change before starting with building good habits. Carl Gustav Jung preached how unconscious needs to be turned into conscious. Most of our habits, unfortunately, are unconscious and automatic. We do not notice them at all and we do not admit that they are bad for us. Become aware of the bad habits. People in our lives might point and call out our unwanted and inappropriate behavior. Mother is telling to her child to wash the hands before eating an apple. This habit formation sticks through the repetition with the child through the rest of the child's life. If a habit is formed, then kid will wash the hands before eating other foods too. Kid is not searching for a logical reason to wash the hands. Kid washes the hands because kid was taught to do so. If your friend is talking too loud in a library, then you or someone else will point out and call out your friend's behavior. It is wise to avoid repeating the bad habits in public because consequences might be catastrophic. James Clear advises you to make your very own list of daily habits. Differentiate bad habits from the good ones or neutral ones by adding pluses or minuses right next to each of the good habits or bad habits that you put on a list. Put equal sign right next to the neutral habits when you notice them on a list. Your morning routine is not good if you have more minuses than the pluses. Now you can plan your days, weeks and months by making more lists and putting more actions on the lists so you can have not only morning routine well developed but also night routine, workout routine, pre-workout routine, studying routine, etc. Some of the habits might be good or bad depending on your goals. Reducing carbs from a diet will help you to lose weight if that is your goal. If you work out in a gym to get stronger, then adding carbs on top of the unsaturated fats and protein in your diet will get you stronger, of course, if a proper workout is combined with that diet. James also states that there are no actually good habits or bad habits, but only effective habits. Effective habits are solving problems. Categorize your habits by how they will benefit you in the long run. Chapter 5. The best way to start a new habit. James presents implementation intention technique for starting new habit. When situation X arises, then a person will perform response Y. For an example, writing date and time of gym sessions or business meetings will help us to stick with our goals over a long period of time. This implementation intention technique is presented as accountability blueprint. Writing down what we need to do is a surefire way to accomplish our goals. Just saying to ourselves that we will exercise will not cut it. being only motivated will not cut it either. Writing down at which gym, on which day and at what time we have a scheduled gym session will help us to stick with training even when we are not motivated. Simple desire and motivation are not enough for us to accomplish our goals or to start new habits. Oftentimes they are not crucial at all, and just by being disciplined and sticking to implementation intention is a relevant parameter that will show how serious we are about self-improvement. When something is transparent, then it is more likely to be taken attention to. We get into the zone of working out if we have written down date and time of our scheduled gym sessions, and we are becoming frequent gym visitors instead of just desiring on a six-pack. There is a valid reason for starting new habit with implementation intention. If I say that I will put out videos every single week on a scheduled time, then I will give a glimpse of my uploading schedule to my viewers, but if I upload a video and I schedule premiere for it in a couple of hours the same day, then I'm abiding by the rules of implementation intention technique. I am doing what I need to do, and I am not just positive or optimistic about uploading. I have intention and I am implementing my intention, which is overly important. Implementation intention will help you to stick with the deadlines and tight schedules. Stick your calendar to yourself even if you are building a growing YouTube channel. You and your gym coach are the only persons who should know about the date and time of your next gym session. There is an implementation intention behind your actions. People who make a specific plan for when and where they will perform a new habit are more likely to follow through. If you want to start a new habit, then ask yourself the questions like when and where my new habit shall start. Choose clarity over motivation. There is never a perfect moment for starting a new habit. That is where implementation intention comes into the play. You are forcing yourself to start a new habit and you do not have to be inspired at all. When the moment of action occurs, there is no need to make a decision. You just follow a predetermined plan. How to follow implementation intention strategy. Fill out this sentence. I will. Behavior at time in location. I will take photos of the monuments for 30 minutes at 7 p.m. in Serbia. For those who are in doubt when to start, James advises the best time for starting new habits is the first of the month or a week. People usually have New Year's resolutions. While the new year is a great time for starting new habits, it is important for new habits to be started by following implementation intention strategy. Saying out loud, I will lose weight, is not enough or effective. Writing on a piece of paper a strategy like I will cook and eat meat at 9 a.m. at my home is better. Purchasing one item leads to buying another item, like if you purchase pants, then you purchase a belt. This consumption spiral is known as Diderot effect. You stack habits of buying items compulsively, oftentimes overly fast. Habit stacking is a form of implementation intention. This time, instead of pairing a new habit with date, time and location, you just pair a new habit with a current habit. Habit stacking formula created by B.J. Fogg looks like this. After, before a current habit, I will, new habit. After I finish reading Atomic Habits, I will start with improving myself by 1% each day. Before I finish listening to this review, I will hit the like button. Chapter 6. Motivation is overrated. Environment often matters more. Anne Thorndike made a study of changing eating habits of thousands of hospital staff and visitors without a slight change in their willpower or motivation. Researchers placed baskets of bottled water next to the food stations throughout the room. Soda was in primary refrigerators, but water was available at all drink locations. After 3 months since experiment began, number of soda sales at the hospital dropped by 11.4%, but sales of bottled water increased by 25.8%. People often choose the product by the place where the product is placed. If a bowl with snacks is placed in front of your eyes, then you will have a hard time to resist snacking. Environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. People are rarely talking loud in a library. Environment dictates the rules of a human behavior. Change is conditioned by external factors in this case. The most powerful of all human sensory abilities is vision. We are scrolling through social media when we see something appealing or interesting. It might be a funny video, good-looking Instagram model, or a bright-colored ad. Social media platforms stimulate our senses all the time. If you do not put a catchy title on your YouTube video, then no one will click on it. If you add a well-designed thumbnail, then you increase a click-through rate on your video. If you do not catch attention visually in the first 3 seconds of a video, then no one will watch it till the end. Vision is a cue that triggers a certain behavior. Clear recommends how important it is to live and work in the environments that are filled with the productive cues and devoid of unproductive ones. We can choose where to live and work. It is our rational behavior at its best. If you do not like where you live and work, then replace your environment with the one that suits you. Your behavior will change upon replacing old toxic environment with new productive one. Make a game plan on how to replace your environment with new one. Make a game plan on how to replace your environment with new one. You can use some of the habit building exercises explained in the previous chapters. Build effective habits for choosing the environments that will suit you in the first place. If you are creative, then find a job in a creative industry. If you do not eat meat, then start visiting restaurants for vegans. Here is how to make cues for starting effective habits obvious. Put an alarm clock right next to your bed on a short wooden table. Take a scale out of a package and put it in a bathroom to measure yourself each day. Leave it there and do not bring it back into the package. If you are in a garage, then put a toolbox on a visible place like ground. Before starting a reparation in your house, make a toolbox obvious both to you and the workers. Use bookmarkers when reading a book to remind you where you left reading. Make the cues obvious and make a habit building irresistible. The most persistent behaviors usually have multiple cues. Scale is taken out of the package and put in the bathroom, but if you place a scale right next to the bathroom doors, then you increase chances of weighing yourself daily. Placing a scale right next to the bathroom doors is far better option than placing it in a shoe locker. This way you are using multiple cues to start with a good habit building. You are rearranging your environment to serve you better. Bad habits can also be performed if multiple cues are in a picture. Passing by the drink store and over-socializing will cause people to drink more alcohol. Choosing a better environment might help here. Emptying out the bottles of alcohol and pouring alcohol down the toilet bowl is the next move if you want to get rid of the excessive drinking. An ad needs to be seen at least 7 times before a potential buyer makes a buying decision. Next time when you see a certain ad or a video that you do not like, just mark it as not interested because it is repetitive. That way, you control what you want to see in the future on social media by environment designing. Chapter 7. The Secret to Self-Control. 20% of the soldiers in Vietnam War were heroin addicts due to the circumstances. Most of the returned soldiers, however, stopped being the heroin addicts. 9 out of 10 returned soldiers didn't have a need or urge to use heroin at all. There was a misconception during those times how heroin addiction cannot be cured. Change in environment proved that those studies were completely wrong. When the context changed, so did the habit. Loss of self-control during war was obvious, and that is why soldiers used heroin. In a peaceful environment, there is no need for drug abusing. When soldiers returned to USA, they were not in face-to-face contact with an enemy, and stress was very less happening than on a battlefield. They overcame life or death situations, and heroin was not their drug of choice anymore. 90% of the heroin users become re-addicted once they return home from rehab. They are going back to an environment that caused them to take heroin in the first place. Context for the re-addicted heroin users becomes the same as it was before. Nothing is changing for the better for them. They are in face-to-face contact with an enemy, which is heroin. Going to the raves was for many years connected with not only music but also taking drugs. Dancers used to take drugs with an excuse to dance longer and more energetic. For those who attended raves and who didn't want to dabble in drugs, then leaving earlier was the best way to avoid temptation of using drugs. That was the secret for their self-control. I never attended a rave in my life, but I was going to hip-hop concerts where beer was welcomed. There was a stand with CDs, t-shirts, merch, and of course plastic cups with beer. Promoters used to buy beer in liters, and they were reselling the beer by pouring it in plastic cups. Most of the profit was made not on the ticket sales, but on the preying on people's loss of self-control. Promoters and event organizers could not make money on the underground acts anyways, but selling beer was and still is a go-to strategy to make profits and cover the eventual losses. Slightly older hip-hop fans than me were coming in groups and they were spending money on beer. Context of a concert is socializing and having fun, so drinking beer is something normal to many people. If you are not used to drink beer, then avoid getting drunk on the concerts. Just say that you took some beer earlier in the morning before going to a job. No one will judge you, although there are some people who can drink beer in liters without getting drunk because they are used to drinking beer without getting drunk because they are used to drinking beer every single day. You will be amazed with the level of your self-control. If your friends know that you are not handling beer properly but still are offering it to you, then the best choice for you is to change your circle of friends and find some sober friends. Context of doing the coffee is different than going to the concerts. Yes, there is still a component of socializing added to both of them, but going to the cafes around 4 or 5 p.m. and staying till 6 or 7 p.m. with your friends has reduced chances of you getting drunk. You are ordering what you want to drink and not what is pushed to you without any alternative. Besides coffee, most of the cafes offer alcoholic drinks but in less dosage. I order mineral water and I talk more but drink less when I am with my friends in cafes. Disciplined people have better self-control than the others because disciplined people structured their lives around not putting themselves in tempting situations. There is no need for them to go to the traumas of rehab journey or to leave the bad habits in heroic ways. Disciplined people do not have a need to speak publicly about overcoming bad habits. They are eliminating bad habits from their lives and they are not letting bad habits to appear at all. Secret to self-control is in creating more disciplined environment. Disciplined environment is a primary quality of self-control. Grit, perseverance and willpower are improved upon disciplined environment. Once a habit has been encoded, the urge to act follows whenever the environmental cues reappear. You cannot remove the bad habits entirely. Sometimes I go weeks without drinking Coca-Cola Zero, but I go back to it after a while. I ate ketchup a lot as a kid and I switched to tomato sauce, however, I'm still adding ketchup from time to time when I'm ordering hamburger or pizza. If I do not order pizza or a hamburger, then my ketchup intake is going to be equal to 0. Chapter 8. How to make a habit irresistible. Tinbergen discovered that gray-like goose who nested on the ground rolled out eggs back to the nest each time when the eggs rolled out due to her leaving the nest. Goose did it habitually and she didn't roll back only eggs back to the nest, but also the objects that had similar size as the eggs, for an example light bulb or other the objects of bigger size. Goose once rolled back to the nest a volleyball and she sat on top of it. The bigger the object, the bigger the effort was for the goose to roll back an object. Gray-like goose followed an instinctive rule of rolling back round objects to the nest. Supernormal stimulus is a heightened version of reality, like an egg the size of a volleyball. It elicits a stronger response than usual. Humans also react to supernormal stimulus. Males tend to fall in love or chase a good-looking female. That is how man's brain is wired. Men know that certain good-looking girls might be incompatible with them in a lot of the character traits, but they are still shooting their shots by approaching those girls. Men react a lot on a visual stimuli. Certain females, on the other side, react on the supernormal stimulus by choosing their mates according to the status, power and money they have or express. For thousands of years, females were choosing the most dominant males for mating. This has been ingrained in females' system of values and it has not changed in these days. Females are chasing after the most dominant males because the more exaggerated the reality, the bigger the stimulus, and they are motivated to chase someone who is hard to get. The wealthier the man, the bigger the reward in terms of traveling more and buying more things. People are not only abided by supernormal stimuli, but they are also looking for it. It is boring to eat same food over and over again, no matter how healthy it might be. That is why people are so prone to eat chocolate and sweets. Bliss Point is a combination of sugar, artificial flavors and other additives in foods such as strawberry yogurts that are bought in the supermarkets. Those fruit yogurts have less fruit and more artificial flavor. Taste is not natural but is heightened through added sugar, aromas and colors. Still, there is a hope for avoiding such yogurts. Buy 2 kilograms of fresh strawberries and 1 liter of a yogurt with 0% fat. Take those ingredients home and rinse strawberries in a blender. Once rinsing is done, put a strawberry pulp into a glass bowl filled with yogurt. That is a homemade fresh strawberry yogurt recipe without sugar or artificial flavors. Make a habit of drinking homemade strawberry yogurt more frequent. Whole preparation is easy, fast, benefits are obvious, and recipe is memorable. You are making a habit irresistible. The trend is for the rewards to become more concentrated and for stimuli to become more enticing. Scientists placed electrodes on the brains of the rats and dopamine releasing was inhibited. All of the cravings were gone and the rats died of thirst a couple of days later. When other scientists put sugar into the mouth of the rats, the sugar lit them up. Even the dopamine was blocked. They liked the sugar as much as before, but they didn't crave for more. There is a tight connection between dopamine spikes and anticipation. Anticipation for a chocolate will set dopamine spikes through the roof and not eating it. Anticipation of a reward causes us to take action and not fulfilling of a reward. Dopamine rises when we anticipate. If we do not get reward, then dopamine falls. There is a difference between wanting and liking. Wanting centers of a brain are larger than liking centers of a brain. We can combine habit stacking with temptation bundling. Temptation bundling is connecting an action that we need to do with an action that we want to do. We want to listen to a podcast, but we need to run, so we will listen to it when we jog at the same time. If we add this behavior to a morning routine each day, then we have a lot of habits stacked up. The habit stacking plus temptation bundling formula is 1. After a current habit, I will. Habit I need. 2. After. Habit I need, I will. Habit I want. After a late night shower, I will dry my hair, and after I dry my hair, I will read in bed. Chapter 9. The role of family and friends in shaping your habits. You probably heard thousands of times from your friends and family how you are not going to make it and that you should play it safe by finding a job. Comfort zone is that holy grail that your friends and family were chasing all their lives. Having a salary is very recommended these days, but you should put yourself out of the comfort zone and start some side hustle like freelancing and boost your income besides working a 9 to 5. Salary is enough to keep you stuck in survival mode. Increasing your earnings and building more income streams will help you to start living a life. Family and friends love you, but they consider you as a grown kid and they think that you are average. That prejudice-driven behavior humiliates you. Family does have big impact in shaping your habits and in learning how to differ right from wrong. Unfortunately, family and friends will not teach you how to start living. It is your responsibility to build your best life and to remove negative programming instilled by your family and friends from your brain. Listening to the teacher and being respectful to older people in a public place has its own place. Hungarian teacher Laszlo Polgar believed that with deliberate practice and development of good habits, a child could become genius in any field. He believed in hard work and he rejected an idea of natural-born talent. Genius is not born but is educated and trained. Same case was with Srđan Đoković. He brought his son Novak on a tennis court as a young kid and Novak started to train hard. Novak was disciplined throughout the years and he became a world champion in tennis. No one believed in Novak except his father and sponsors. Genius was developed and trained and Novak could have easily ended as an average person if it wasn't for tennis and his father's rigorous behavior. Srđan instilled ambition into Novak and all too oftentimes criticized as too rigid, he produced a world champion who gave a hope for bringing tennis back its dignity and popularity in Serbia. Polgar believed that if you want to produce a next genius, then a child needs to start with an education before the age of 3 and child needs to begin to specialize at the age of 6. Literally around the same age, Novak became interested in tennis thanks to his father. Michael Jackson began singing at an early age in a musical family and he later on became one of the best and one of the top-selling singers of all time. Laszlo's kids became chess prodigies and they were homeschooled. His house was filled with chess books and pictures of famous chess players. Good habits were started and developed at an early age of his 3 daughters. Judith, Sofia and Susan described their childhood as amusing, interesting and attractive. They played chess against each other while practicing and they developed skills through collaborative efforts so they were able to beat even the older competitors in chess. Playing chess was something normal in Polgar's family. Friends form our habits too. If you are hanging with the alcoholics, then you are more likely to become one. That is a bad example of a peer pressure. One of the best ways of building the better habits is to join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. In USA, it is normal if people want to get rich. In Serbia, if a person wants to get rich, the same person is ridiculed and looked frowned upon. Rich people are treated differently in different cultures. In USA, rich people are praised for their systems, time management, and out-of-the-box thinking. In Serbia, almost all of the rich people are labeled as criminals or thieves by society. Unfortunately, staying poor and in your comfort zone is something usual in Serbia. Other economies are willing to reward those who work hard on building businesses. If you are surrounded by the rich people, then most likely you will pick some of their habits. Those habits are having proper amount of sleep, morning routine, lunch routine, workout routine, delegating tasks, time management, night routine, dress code, and so on. Sense of belonging sustains motivation. It is easier to build better habits in groups than in solitude. Find some groups where the members have the same interests or similar character traits as you. Join a book club of self-development books readers for a fresh start. Chapter 10. How to find and fix the causes of your bad habits. James Clear went to a short trip to Turkey and he let his friend Mike to guide him through the city. Mike managed a dinner meeting with James and his Turkish friends. Almost all of the people at the table were smokers excluding James and Mike. Almost all of the people at the table were smokers excluding James and Mike. James asked one of the Turkish friends how did he start smoking, and Turkish friend replied friends. His Turkish friend started smoking due to socializing reasons. From there on he continued to smoke. Mike had been smoke-free for a few years at that point, and he claimed that the reason for him quitting smoking is a book by Alan Carr called Easy Way to Stop Smoking. Book describes the smoking as an addiction and how the socializing and stress relief should not be the motives behind lighting up a cigarette. We need to be concerned with pricing of the cigarettes and health issues that smoking causes too. Inversion rule of making a habit attractive is simply to make a habit unattractive. Below any craving, there is an underlying motive. Reduce the motives and you will reduce the cravings. You can quit smoking. Just think about breath that you're exhaling during a conversation with your colleagues on your job. Smoking shortens span of life. Find the logical motives for not smoking and you will never take a cigarette again in your life ever. Craving is just a specific manifestation of a deeper underlying motive. Books in network marketing niche are a perfect example of the products that tap into the underlying motive of the readers, which is how to make money and get socially recognized. MLM books will not teach you how to get rich, but still they are selling a lot. There are some hidden gems in the Sales Bible written by Jeffrey Gitomer on how to learn the techniques of selling without being sleazy or salesy. While that book was written with network marketers in mind, it still has transferable skills of sales, which direct seller can apply in selling software to companies and not only selling pens to the friends. However, that book is an exception to the rule. People are massively joining MLM companies and they go to network marketing events because of socializing and looking for an opportunity to earn a quick buck. Books that are given to the aspiring network marketers are those who rely on toxic positivity without concrete plan on how to make money, and books that explain generic techniques on how to overcome the objections and how the different types of MLM pyramid structures look like. Network marketers look successful on the outside, but inside something is off. I used to work in MLM company for 2 months back in the days because I was desperate to find a job. That was my underlying motive for working as a sales consultant in middle management of a big company in consumer goods industry. If you desperately need a job, then work as a bookseller in a retail store and find a job that is not commission-based. Your habits are modern-day solutions to ancient desires. Your habits are new versions of old vices. We predict if something is worth doing and taking action. Saving money for the future will earn a mouth-watering interest over time in some cases. Humans are creatures of prediction and action-taking. If we had success with something in the past, then we will repeat that behavior and take action. Synonyms for cravings are desires, urges, and feelings. We act based on our feelings, desires, and urges. Someone can have an urge to get in a relationship while someone else might feel like relationship is a waste of time and burden. Underlying motives are different from person to person, and so is the action taking or inaction. Underlying motive of repeating or changing our habits is to feel different. We can make hard habits attractive if we associate them with positive feelings. Shift words from need to want, like I need to find a soulmate, to I want to find a soulmate. Do you see how easier it becomes if you only change your mindset a little bit? If you are buying next shiny object on the internet, then there is an underlying motive for your action. Don't spend money on the get-rich-quick schemes and fix your bad habits. Earning money is a habit, so develop a good habit of earning slowly but exponentially after some time. Downline building looks like a quick fix, but long and steady YouTube channel building wins the race. Chapter 11. Walk slowly but never backward. Jerry Ullsman, a professor at the University of Florida, divided his film photography students into two groups. Left side of the class was in the quantity group, and they were evaluated by the amount of work they produced, precisely the number of photos they made. Right side of the class was in quality group, and they were evaluated just by producing one high quality photo per semester. At the end of semester, he found out that all of the best photos were produced by the quantity group. During semester, quantity group took hundreds of photos while experimenting with different lighting, colors and other techniques, so they became skilled in taking photos along the way. Quality group was busier with theories about taking a perfect photo, and their end result was just one mediocre photo. Endless theories and numerous approaches are stopping us from getting to our goals because we are not taking any action towards the end results. Maybe we need more time and more resources to finish our projects. Most of the projects do not start at all because we are so bothered with perfection in terms of finding and starting at the perfect moment or creating a perfect end result, which will never happen. Inaction and procrastination are killers of success. Success loves speed, but only if you are in position to delegate to others and hiring more staff. Until then, rely on slow pace for getting to the desired goals. Go slow, but never backwards. Most of the entrepreneurs stop when they should not stop. Your very first obstacle will test how high your desire to become successful is. Warren Buffett, savvy and conservative investor, took decades and decades to make his first billion. He didn't stop there, and he kept accumulating wealth. We need to differ motion from action taking. Motion is related to planning and strategizing, but it doesn't produce the results. Action taking produces an outcome. Listening to self-help gurus is a motion. Trying and failing until achieving a desired goal is an action taking. Only staying in the motion is not enough. You need to take action even if your plan is not the best one out there. Undesirable financial situation will motivate you to take action. Gym coach will keep you accountable. Bills are not going to pay themselves by themselves. Staying only in motion without taking action is for those who are afraid of failure. You are trying to avoid criticism. Motion will make you think about progress instead of truly making progress. Learning and planning are signs of motion, but they are not action-taking parameters. You are just preparing for getting something done with motion. Endless preparation leads to procrastination. After I lost 40 pounds on a keto diet, I also lost muscle mass at the same time. I was able to put on Adidas shorts again, and my waist was slimmer, but I lost strength because of the strictly reduced carbohydrates. That led me to learn and read about fitness and how to get stronger. I went from obese to skinny fat with a keto diet, but only a couple of years later, when I went back to the gym, I was able to get stronger with strength workout, help of my gym coach, and high carb, moderate protein, and low fat diet. I went from learning and reading about workouts to actually doing workouts. I was achieving the results in the gym with resistance training. I progressed at the slow pace, and it seemed like I was not doing something properly at the gym. After 6 months since going back to the gym, my bench pressing drastically improved. I received compliments both from the gym visitors and from my gym coach. I went from motion to taking action, and my habits were formed through repetition. Habit formation is the process by which a behavior becomes progressively more automatic through repetition. The amount of time you have been performing a habit is not as important as the number of times you have performed it. Chapter 12. The Law of Least Effort. Jared Diamond, author of a book called Guns, Germs and Steel, stated that different continents have different shapes. Europe and Asia grew in agriculture faster than the rest of the continents because Europe and Asia have agriculture-friendly land mass and crops were not affected by climate changes like they were affected in America. As an agriculture started to grow, so did the population in Europe and Asia. Motivation was obvious, and every action requires energy. Energy produces more energy. Money is an energy. If you do not have initial capital, then the most likely your business idea will not start. According to the law of least effort, people tend to choose an option that is easier for them instead of choosing something that requires more effort. The more effort a habit requires, then the less likely it will happen. The less effort a habit requires, then the more likely it will happen. Most of our bad habits require the least amount of effort, like scrolling on Instagram. Habit is an obstacle in getting what you want. Most of the good habits require effort. You do not want to perform a habit, but you want to get an end result. That is why people are complaining about having bad days, even when the outside circumstances are not working against them. Behind such excuses is laziness, a state where you do not want to put an effort into starting a habit which will lead you to the end result. You want to make sure to make a habit look easy to perform. Motivation is important, but discipline stays with you in the long run. Habit can start with a motivation, but shortly after a couple of days, motivation will vanish. Affiliate marketing is hard, and it is not the best side hustle. Selling low-ticket software and courses and earning a couple of dozens of dollars in affiliate commission is not sustainable for growing online income, and after some time, affiliates will stop with promoting products and they will try to find some type of an online business model which is easier. Selling high-ticket courses and PLR memberships is still hard but more convenient, since the affiliate commissions can sometimes be $2,000 just per one membership sold. Instead of writing 120 software and courses reviews on a website and earning only a couple of hundreds of dollars a year with low ticket offers, you can on the other side write about 25 articles where you can review high ticket coaching programs, mentorships and PLR memberships. You will earn much more with latter option. Make it look easy, although it is not, and you will stick with it much longer. Try with environment change if you want to make your habit become easier to perform. Most of the home workouts are good for toning body, but not for getting strength. I always failed with home workout and I stopped doing exercises at home after a couple of days. It is hard to stay motivated with working out at home. There are many excuses like having kids, spouse, partner, or not having enough space in the room. Go to the gym, all of your excuses will be put aside. Goods or services at their core reduce the friction in your life. Getting an Uber will take you to your desired destination faster than waiting for a bus. Getting a hostel in a suburb is cheaper than residing in a 5-star hotel. Much of the battle of building better habits comes down to finding ways to reduce the friction associated with our good habits and increase the friction associated with our bad ones. If you want to start an ebook writing, then open your Microsoft Word as soon as you open your laptop. If you want to clean your shoes, then keep the shoe cleaning kit outside of a shoe locker permanently. That way you are keeping it on a visible place and you will most likely clean and polish your shoes. Put it in front of a shoe locker or on top of a shoe locker if a shoe locker is not too high. Your shoe cleaning kit should always be there for you for an easy reach. When friction is low, habits are easy. Frictionless habits compound into the good routines, and the good routines compound into a good life. Make your life easier by making your habits easier. When friction is high, habits are difficult. Chapter 13. How to stop procrastinating by using the 2-minute rule. Twyla Tharp, famous dancer and choreographer, was awarded in 1992 a MacArthur Fellowship, and she toured across the globe during her career. She developed good habits to support her journey. She begins each day with a ritual. She wakes up at 5:30 a.m. and she puts her gym clothes on. Then she invites taxi to drive her to the desired gym. She works out 2 hours in the gym. All the process is habitualized. Habit of waking up early and working out is developed and applied. 40 to 50% of our actions on any given day are done out of habit. Decisive moments set the habit forming. When I send CV to my desired employer, then I am applying for a position. When job recruiters invite me to the job interviews, that means that I am among the shortlisted candidates. Waking up at 8 a.m. and going to bed before 11 p.m. is an example of habit shaping. Habits are the entry point, not the end point. The 2-minute rule states that when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. I was always making a mistake by doing more than 2 things at the same time. This can be seen in my online marketing journey. I used to watch too many courses and I used to read a lot of articles on how to make money online by having multiple streams of income. Now, do not get me wrong, you should have multiple streams of income, but only when that first stream of yours gets too big and too stable so you can invest into the other income streams out of it. I tried everything from freelancing, making video courses, and affiliate marketing. Sometimes I was spending more than 6 hours a day online because the social media marketing experts told me how I need to have omni-channel approach. The moment I decided to write reviews about software on my blog, I chose one option, and that was article writing. I was not jumping from one make money online method to another when I was writing reviews. It took me way longer than 2 minutes to apply top 5 make money online methods in a day, since I was spending 6+ hours online a day when I was trying to do many things at the same time. With one method, start was fast even when I was writing for an hour and a half whole article. Habit did not start when I finished writing an article, but it started with me writing a title for an article. It is that decisive moment which requires less than 2 minutes for me to perform it. Precisely, it takes me a couple of seconds, like 2 or 3, to write one title. Perfect example is when I was writing brief 2 sentences long introduction where I was explaining what is the purpose of a software and to whom software caters to. At the moment when I had finished with those 2 introductory sentences, I habitually knew how the rest of the article should look like and how it should be written. I knew the rest of the action taking, which included writing 1500 plus words explaining pain points on a market, pitching a product, putting an image of article in product, features, OTOs, comparisons to competitive products, pricing, scarcity, and bonuses. I always ended up with a 3-sentence long conclusion and a call to action with a link to a product in the last sentence. My affiliate disclosure was put in italic font as the last sentence in a post, and I habitually knew without copying and pasting how affiliate disclosure should look like because I was putting affiliate disclosure at the end of each post that I wrote on my marketing website. First 1 minute is when decision is made for the rest of the habit to continue. Writing for an hour and a half is surely more productive than spending 7 hours online. Putting out articles daily became an article writing routine for me. The idea is to make your habits as easy as possible to start. Starting a habit is defined as a gateway habit that dictates in which context the path is constructed. Gateway habit opens a path that follows it. You should spend less than 2 minutes on a gateway habit, no matter how hard the path can be. The point is to master the habit of showing up. Habit cannot be improved before it is established. Standardize a habit before you optimize a habit. Chapter 14. How to make good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible. In summer 1830, Victor Hugo had to fulfill his publishing deal. 1 year prior that, he was not focused on writing, but on the other thing, like entertaining his guests. Hugo's publisher gave him 6 more months as a deadline to finish a book. Book needed to be finished before February 1831. Hugo had beaten procrastination by strategizing and placing an order to his assistant. His assistant put all of the Hugo's clothes in a large chest so Hugo could not go out and socialize since all that was left to Hugo was his shawl. Hugo spent fall and winter of 1830 writing passionately and without any delays. The Hunchback of Notre Dame masterpiece was born and it was published on January 14, 1831. Hugo made bad habit of spending too much time on style maintenance impossible by not bothering himself with what to wear and how to pair it with the rest of a wardrobe. Commitment device is a choice that you make in the present that controls your actions in the future. I chose to finish with preparing this Atomic Habits review. I'm not allowing myself anything else to distract me. I listen to 1 chapter of Atomic Habits a day and I also write a chapter review the same day. My chapter reviews compound into a whole book review. My birthday is on August 1st and I spent my birthday listening to chapter 15 and reviewing it. I did not go out on my birthday except to the nearest supermarket to buy some food. I do have friends, but I can see them any other day in a year. It is not a problem if I do not see them for months. They have their own commitments and I have mine. I'm in the zone of continuing with my good habit of preparing this review. My good habit is inevitable and I use 80-20 rule with commitment device technique. I'm spending 80% of the time in preparing this review and I'm on the other side spending 20% of my time in finishing my review. Finishing requires reading out loud my whole review with a USB microphone and recording it. After that, I will add a black screen background photo over my audio and I will export my video in MP4 format. Then I will go to Canva and I will redesign one of my thumbnails where I will put my photo on it with the title Atomic Habits Review right next to my photo. My last step in finishing process is to upload my video and my thumbnail to YouTube, to write my title, description, put on the meta tags, and publish it as a public video. I locked in myself to achieve successful outcome by simple but disciplined commitment to my idea. It is impossible for me to have a bad day while preparing and finishing my review. If you read one chapter a day, then you will have finished with reading a whole Atomic Habits book for 21 days. The best way to break a bad habit is to make it impractical to do. If you are into affiliate marketing, then you know that social media platforms do not like direct linking, which is putting a link directly to an offer that you are promoting. Vendors and the social media platforms both advise you to avoid direct linking. You can do it by linking to a bonus page or to a review written on your own website instead of linking directly. This way, you are increasing the chances of making the sales with good marketing practices. You will not be banned by the social media platforms or vendors if you link to a bonus page. Direct linking is an example of bad marketing practices, and this practice is eliminated by making it impossible to do, although linking directly is quicker than making a bonus page. Using bonus pages and making them becomes routine for the top affiliates. Making bonus pages takes time, but there are luckily software that generate bonus pages for the affiliate marketers in a couple of minutes, along with delivering accompanying bonuses. There is a technology behind automating a good habit of making bonus pages. Automation will set you for success in many areas of life. Nutrition for the carnivores. Heat pot and steam meat on its own moist instead of frying it. Nutrition for the vegans. Get the healthy nutrients by cooking quinoa 2 times faster than rice. When you automate as much of your life as possible, you can spend your effort on the tasks machines cannot do yet. Do the resistance training 4 times a week and core workout 3 times a week. If you are employed, try to get a raise or start silent quitting until you find better paying job. Chapter 15. The Cardinal Rule of Behavior Change. At the end of 1990s, public health worker Stephen Luby left Omaha and went to Karachi, one of the most popular cities in the world. It was the Pakistan's center of airport, seaports and economic power. Karachi was a very populated city, but over 60% of its residents lived in slums without electricity. Kids were playing among the trash and conditions were not hygienic. Slums and settlements were made of old blocks and old material. That public health crisis was reason for Luby to visit Pakistan. There wasn't a culture of washing hands properly. Some of the slums residents were not washing hands at all. Washing hands is a routine that stops spreading of bacteria and infections. Luby and his team partnered with Procter & Gamble, which supplied poor Pakistani neighborhoods with Safeguard soap. Safeguard soap had premium pricing on the Pakistani market and very few citizens could afford it. Study has shown that the residents of slums and settlements were very happy and eager to wash hands with this premium soap, so the culture of washing hands suddenly rose and continued with consistency. Health of the children improved and Luby and his team visited Karachi 6 years later. They noticed that 95% of the residents in poor neighborhoods adopted hand-washing culture. Although the intervention group had not been given free soap for 5 years, they adopted healthy habit of washing hands during trial period. Experience was satisfying for the participants. Smell of soap was pleasurable and habit of washing hands was ingrained in the brains of participants. Habits need to be enjoyable and satisfying in order to last longer. After cleaning floor in my apartment, I have an option to add Pronto Polisher. My floor is made of wood and polisher adds a protection and bright smooth look to it. Products such as refresheners, lavender and soaps are selling well because they give pleasurable sensation to our senses of smell and sight. Lavender buckets are not only sending pleasurable smell in my closet, but they are keeping moths away from my clothes too, so usage of lavender products is practical and satisfying at the same time. 5-in-1 and 3-in-1 products are solving multiple pain points at the same time for less price. Colgate Triple Action gives cavity protection, white teeth and fresh breath. It comes in a family pack of 150 ml and it can be bought at a discounted price. Cardinal rule of behavior change states that what is rewarded is repeated and what is punished is avoided. Men learn through experience how it is to be ghosted and not receiving text messages back. Texting is a bad idea, and after some time men realize that it's better to call a girl instead of texting her. If a girl is uninterested, then it is a clear sign for a man to stop simping by going no contact. Desire is created in absence. Neediness is unattractive and it is portrayed as a bad habit. Man is punished for a needy behavior and rewarded for being uninterested. Positive emotions cultivate habits, negative emotions destroy them. Naturally, rewards can be instant or delayed. We live most of our lives in delayed return environments. It takes at least 4 years for college studies. It takes at least 30 years for conservative investors to seek significant growth in their portfolios. Consequences of bad habits are delayed while the rewards are immediate. Not saving money but spending it on fast fashion and unnecessary monthly subscriptions surely leads to instant gratification, but consequences are inevitable because such lifestyle is not savvy and it doesn't lead to financial freedom. If a brand new pair of distressed denim is what you want, you will regret since the fashion trends are changing all the time and you will need to spend more and more to keep up with the latest trends. You would be better off with building a capsule wardrobe. The costs of your good habits are in the present and the costs of your bad habits are in the future. Your present moment needs to be in alignment with your future. Example is putting money into index fund so you can cash out after a couple of decades. When we use present moment without taking into account building future out of it, then we just live in a present moment which leads to instant gratification. What is immediately rewarded is repeated and what is immediately punished is avoided. Chapter 16. How to stick with good habits every day. In 1993, bank in Abbotsford, Canada hired stockbroker Trent Dursmith. He was required to make 120 sales calls a day. On his desk there were 2 jars, one filled with the 120 paper clips and second entirely empty. Each time when he made one sales call, he took out a paper clip from a jar with the clippers and he put the same paper clip into the second jar. That is how he was tracking his daily progress of handling a large amount of sales calls. He grossed $5 million in sales for his company and he was paid $75,000 a year. Not long after he joined another company for a 6-figure yearly salary. Trent used a simple technique of habit tracking. His paperclip strategy had satisfying elements attached to it, so the habit building didn't seem draining. Habit tracking, for an example, is a habit building routine where you check the empty squares on your calendar after completing each task. Instead of using calendar, Trent used jars and paperclips to keep himself accountable. When I was a student, I had exams on every 2 or 3 months. I used to divide all of the exam lessons with the number of days left till my exam. If I had 120 questions to prepare from April 1st till June 15th, then I was learning 2 lessons a day for 2 months, and then 15 days before an exam I practiced 20 lessons a day till start of an exam. I had a calendar on my mobile phone, so I was able to track my progress easily by counting days till my exam and learning, of course. After graduation, I was doing strength training in a gym. I was writing down in my notebook scheduled sessions for every workout in a week, and after 2 years I had pages and pages of checked workout sessions in my notebook. I tracked my habits by writing down the completed and upcoming workout sessions in my notebook. I had a gym coach and he was satisfied with my disciplined routine of showing up for the sessions. I didn't keep a track of my progress in terms of when and how I will lift more weight. I was just focused on becoming a person with healthier lifestyle than I used to be before. My progress was visible after few months. Habit tracking needs to have 3 components in order to be successful. Don't break the chain is a powerful mantra. Don't break the chain of sales calls and you will build a book full of contacts. Habit tracking needs to be obvious, attractive and satisfying. Those are the 3 laws of behavior change. Each day, when I had finished with learning the lessons, it was obvious that I took action. Those days reminded me to keep going by having a couple of days of learning lessons in a row completed without breaking the chain. I made whole habit of learning lessons easier and attractive by writing theses for each lesson on paper that had listed all of the lessons for upcoming exam at that point. I wrote theses below each of the lessons to remind me how each of the lessons were starting. I just wrote 1 word for the beginning of the sentences that I needed to learn in each lesson. That is how I was on track with finishing preparation of my exams in more practical way. I began all of my student days with eating something that gives me energy like high-calorie foods. I ate both healthy food and junk food combined, and I used to drink energetic drink or coffee each morning before going to the library. I was waking up early in order to take my seat in a library before others. Passing the exams was satisfying for me. One of the most important rules of setting up successful habit tracking is to eliminate the bad days as much as you can. Bad days are inevitable and sometimes they are beyond our control. There are unavoidable situations like family issues, diseases, visiting lawyer, etc. Do not have 2 bad days in a row. Having 1 bad day is an accident, but having 2 bad days forms a bad habit. People generally are not using habit tracking that much because of the 2 reasons. First reason is that it forces you to start building a habit, and second reason is that you need to track it. Use 3 laws of behavior change to incorporate habit tracking into your daily routine. Also, you need to understand what needs to be tracked. Musicians, for an example, are earning less money with streams but more with live shows. After gaining data on what is working for them, musicians can focus on doing more gigs. How an accountability partner can change everything. Roger Fisher attended Harvard Law School and spent 34 years specializing in negotiation and conflict management. He advised politicians not to use nuclear weapons. He suggested implanting the nuclear launch codes in a volunteer. If the President of the United States of America wanted to activate nuclear weapons, he would be required to kill the volunteer to retrieve the codes. That is how Roger inverted the 4th law of behavior change by making it immediately unsatisfying. Pentagon luckily refused to use nuclear weapons, and Roger proved that his teachings on the conflict resolutions are beneficial for the humankind in general. The more immediate and the more costly a mistake is, the faster you will learn from it. Businesses are forced to work better in order to avoid getting bad reviews from the customers. Politicians in National Assembly are obligated to vote for the good laws if they want to stay active on the political scene without risk of getting fired or losing mandate. Farmers learned through the experience that they need to save the crops from bad weather by reacting on time and by protecting their crops with the glass houses. Habit contract is a verbal or written agreement in which you state your commitment to a particular habit and the punishment that will occur if you don't follow through. If I don't read a particular chapter of Atomic Habits for today, then my punishment for tomorrow is to read both the chapter for that day and the chapter that I missed the last day. My punishment is to do twice as much than yesterday if I miss yesterday's obligations. I am keeping myself accountable with my habit contract. Today I needed to stop for about an hour with listening and reviewing this chapter because the strong summer storm was happening between 2 p.m. till 3 p.m. Storm stopped after 3 p.m. and I know that if I stop with listening and reviewing this chapter, then my punishment will be inevitable and hard. I eliminated the reason for having bad day and procrastinating. I continued with my duty as soon as the storm stopped. Find 1 or 2 people to act as your accountability partners and sign off on the contract with you. If you are going back in a gym and you have not been working out for a while, then the best option is to hire a gym coach to keep you accountable. Gym coach will help you with counting sets and reps and with motivating you. You will be motivated to push through your limits with a gym coach. Light cardio and working out on your own with small weight dumbbells will not get you anywhere. Both the professional athletes and the amateurs are using the help from the coaches. By signing up to a gym and paying a monthly membership, you are starting a habit contract. You are convincing yourself that membership card with your name on it is a motivator to become disciplined and to become a healthier person. If you are showing up and working out with your coach but you are cheating with your diet, then the results will not be as planned and desirable as you expected, since the proper diet is 80% of the whole workout spectrum and the rest 20% is a workout routine to complete whole picture. Going to the gym is becoming more expensive if you are always going back to the starting position. Do not sabotage your progress. You are paying both gym membership and the gym coach, so be mindful about it. We care about what others think of us, and we do not want others to have less opinion of us. Losing a basketball game is a no-no for the basketball players. They are afraid of being shamed publicly for a loss on the basketball court. Basketball players signed their contracts for a sweet lump sum of money. It is that motivator that keeps them accountable along with their coaches. Coaches have their team of assistants, doctors and other staff, so more than one person is holding accountable whole basketball team. Playing for their hometown and or country is another accountability factor for basketball players. Habit contract doesn't have to be in a signed form all the time. If I commit myself in watching one astrology prediction a week, then I do not need to sign anything. I will just watch my favorite tarot reader on YouTube to get some prognosis for the upcoming period. I must not exceed the amount of those videos watched, because it will lead me into binge watching. I will stick with watching one video a week for the upcoming monthly prognosis. Watching one video from tarot readers and astrologists a week is enough. Chapter 18. The Truth About Talent. When genes matter and when they don't. Al Guru is one of the greatest middle distance runners of all time. If he compares to Phelps in height, Phelps is 6 feet 4 inches tall and Al Guru is 5 feet 9 inches tall. Phelps could not compete in distance running, though, because Phelps was heavier than Al Guru. On the other side, Al Guru is shorter than Phelps, so Al Guru could not compete in swimming. You need to choose the field that aligns with your inclinations. Biological determinism is a prejudice-driven theory how only certain types of individuals are destined to success and others are not. Genes do not matter all the time. Tyron Buggs had 14-season career in NBA and his height is 5 feet 3 inches. He was not entitled to play basketball, but he was chosen due to his technique and skills. Tyron made it easier for shorter people to start training basketball and eventually play professionally. Buggs beat the odds. Genes cannot be easily changed, which means they provide a powerful advantage in favorable circumstances and a serious disadvantage in unfavorable circumstances. Genes should not be an excuse for starting a new habit. Focus your effort on what excites you. Choose according to your preferences and not according to the preferences of your family. What is your dream career? You do not know until you try it. Some of the men have simultaneous careers. They are both businessmen and politicians. Dealing with the politics in Serbia is something common. Salary of a National Assembly member is up to 3 times bigger than the minimum wage in Serbia. However, politicians are not the most competent persons to manage their roles. Only small amount of politicians in Serbia have finished Faculty of Political Sciences. Ministers and other political figures in Serbia are not experts, unfortunately, and this goes both for the ruling parties and opposition parties. It is possible to become a better politician in Serbia through experience. Talent is not a determining factor to succeed in Serbian politics. Someone's personality might not be tailored for politics, but it is for some other job. The most proven scientific analysis of personality traits is known as the Big Five, which breaks them down into 5 spectrums of behavior. 1. Openness. 2. Consciousness. 3. Extroversion. 4. Agreeableness. 5. Neuroticism. Trust fund babies have more leverage than the others for sure, but you can still get financially free. Choosing an environment that suits particular personality is overly important. In Serbia, taxes for freelancers are 50% on their earnings. In Dubai, free zone companies do not pay the taxes at all. You just need to set a free zone company that works internationally outside of United Arab Emirates. High taxes might discourage someone from freelancing. You go where is convenient to your situation and personality. Reading the books is something that I like and I'm rewarded for my good habit. Making the reviews of the best-selling books is enjoyable to me. I'm not disgusted when I see a book in front of me. I do not consider myself as a nerd, but as someone who is picking a good habit of reading. My father never read a lot. I do not think that genes were the determining factor for my love of reading. Studying law sciences was something that was harder for me than reading self-improvement books. Studying law is something that I needed to do, and I graduated from a faculty of law to make my father proud and happy. Needing something is different than wanting something. You stick with a habit if you truly want it. I left Bar Association in 2019 after 2 months of summer internship in a law office. Being a lawyer was never my dream, but it was a dream of my colleagues, society and my family. Chapter 19. The Goldilocks Rule. How to stay motivated in life and work. Comedian Steve Martin needed 18 years to get his career breakthrough. Goldilocks rule states that humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. People are leaned towards something that is difficult but manageable. Affiliate marketing is hard, but people can learn the basics of setting up a WordPress blog and reviewing the products. Once learned, those skills stay with you for the rest of your life. Riding a bike is a skill that stays with you for the rest of your life. It is hard to find balance first on the biking seat, but after a few attempts, you're not falling from a bike no more. Hard work makes sense, but avoid burnout. Hustle culture received backlash because one influential businessman said that you need to hustle till the point of burnout. Later on, that businessman apologized. Hustling in its pure form and definition is a way of boosting your income by engaging in money-making activities aside from your day job. Hustling is good for you because it motivates you to take action. You are exploring other sources of income than just your main 9-to-5 job. Getting rejected from potential love partners is good for you because it motivates you to improve the dating area of your life. You are learning that rejection is normal and you are minimizing it after some time through active work on your finances, looks, mental health and life in general. I have a plan to finish with reading 6 more personal development books till the end of this year. I want to do the reviews for all of them and to gain more subscribers along the way. My motivation is undeniable and I am moving to the right direction. Even if I do not read as much as I planned, I am working on leaving my comfort zone. Powerful affirmations and mantras will keep you motivated through your self-development journey. I recommend a book from Louise Hay called I Can Do It, which is jam-packed with positive mantras. Flow state is a state of being in a zone. You are slightly pushing yourself over your limits each day while keeping yourself motivated. Increase the responsibility slowly by staying outside of your comfort zone. My plan for the next year is to learn at least Excel on an advanced level. Ideally, I should learn whole Office 365 suite on an advanced level, including Microsoft Word and PowerPoint, but I will try to master Excel first by going from beginner to intermediate and finally to an advanced level by watching and learning interactive and updated video course on Excel. Getting a certificate from highly rated Excel course instructor motivates me to complete a long course from start to finish and to put a certificate of completion on my LinkedIn profile. That is how I am increasing chances to get a position of executive support officer when applying to a job, since that position requires knowledge of Excel on an advanced level as one of the requirements. I worked in sales for a long time and I must admit that I became bored with working in sales. It is hard to stay motivated when you are bored. Unrealistic sales targets, toxic working environments and massive layoffs will make you question your career as a salesman, and you will leave your job of a salesman sooner or later. Still, you can make a slight switch to your daily sales job by leaving the company where employer relies on you exceeding the sales targets and starting to work in a retail store where targets are not mandatory. It is not a dream job, but you can invest money from your minimum wage into the Office 365 courses and learn all of the courses after coming back home from work. Basically, you are preparing yourself to leave your minimum wage job because you know that there is a better paying job for you. Silent quitting is something natural, but it needs to be done wisely. Going through 2 Excel video lessons a day, completing the tasks, practicing, rewatching the video lessons, and answering the quizzes is enough to keep me motivated to go through the whole curriculum. I stumbled upon a high-paying job for executive support assistant in a foreign embassy. Advanced knowledge of Office 365, English language on at least C1 level, plus experience with word processing, spreadsheets, managing social media accounts and so on are also the job requirements. Constantly learning and filling up your CV with more working experience and certificates is a must. You can always learn additional foreign language or improve the one that you are already speaking. Chapter 20. The downside of creating good habits. Once a skill has been mastered, there is usually a slight decline in performance over time. Some people are aware of this and they are flipping the script of that rule. They are doing it by knowing that there is never enough mastery. Mastery is a continuous process of excelling in one particular area. Let's take a rapper Eminem for an example. He never declined in his performance throughout his career. His cadence from 25 years ago is very different than his current cadence. Eminem is changing his flows all the time and he is combining flows from other rappers on top of using his own flow. He is getting more lyrical and metaphorical with years, and he was more controversial and entertaining at the beginning of his career, which made him different than the other rappers. His style matured. He is competing both against his peers, old school rappers and new school rappers. Yesterday is not good enough for him. He is proving again and again that he is relevant. He stated how it is harder to stay in the rap game than to enter the rap game. Eminem is surely in my top 5 rappers of all time list. Although considered as a master, he is showing how humble he is by practicing and polishing his rap skills all the time. Other rappers on the other side are still having the same flow and style that they used to have before. They achieved a certain level of mastery and their performance, both in the booth and on the stage, plateaued. Minor dip in performance is no cause for worry. Basic good habits do not need improvement once a certain level of proper routine has been achieved. Basic good habits do not need improvement once a certain level of proper routine has been achieved. You learned how to brush your teeth as a kid, and you do not need new techniques for keeping your teeth clean and fresh every day. You just need to brush your teeth every day and visit dentist to keep your teeth healthy. Rapping is a profession which requires continuous improvement. Brushing teeth is a basic good habit. It is important to use a mastered habit as leverage for starting and building new good habits. Eminem used rapping as leverage to act in 8 Mile movie. He won an Oscar for Lose Yourself song. Eminem was not considered as just an entertaining rapper no more. He became critically acclaimed after Lose Yourself song. He went even further with Not Afraid song. We can all notice that he is hitting the chords in a chorus of Not Afraid song. Eminem is showing that he is a pure artist who knows both how to rap and sing. In the summer of 1986, Pat Riley created a Career Best Effort Program or CBE. He monitored the progress of the players from high school till joining Lakers. Riley and his team reflected and reviewed how the players were playing versus how they play. Each player needed to improve an output by at least 1% over the course of the season. If they succeeded, then it would be CBE. Lakers rolled CBE in October 1986, and 8 months later they became NBA champions. Keep the notes of your progress and track everything. Measure your calories intake and fibers. Men are recommended to take up to 36 grams of fiber each day. Females are recommended to take up to 24 grams of fiber each day. If men surpass 36 grams of fiber daily intake, then they will end up with gases and stomach issues. Fiber intake counts too, and not only calorie intake. These days I'm sleeping well and I have at least 7 hours of sleep. I made a simple routine of taking a shower around 11 p.m. and going to bed around 1 a.m. I'm waking up at 8 a.m. fresh and well rested. I do have alarm clock set up on my mobile phone to wake me up at 6 a.m. each day, but I cannot hear it anyways cause I'm still sleeping during those hours. That is why I needed to reflect and review my sleeping routine. I do not need to take notes at what time I went to bed. I just take a glance at a clock on my desk or on my mobile phone before I go to bed. Conclusion. There you have it, Atomic Habits by James Clear summary. This book summary was reviewed, prepared and narrated by Aleksandar Kovrlija. Atomic Habits really pumped me up and motivated me for success. Techniques like 1% improvement each day, habit building, putting habits in a loop, environment design, Goldilocks rule and many others are here to stay. Use this book as a blueprint for building the better habits. Anytime when you notice that you are building bad habits, just do the opposite of 4 laws of behavior change process. Make the bad habits invisible, unattractive, difficult and unsatisfying. You will eventually stop with doing bad habits. Anytime when you achieve a certain level of mastery, know that there are always some areas where improvement is needed. Become a person that you want to be. Inspire those around you. You will be amazed how small habits and tiny changes snowball to significant improvement. Live your best life possible. Get fit, find the love of your life, become financially free, or simply build a better circle of friends. Know when you are slipping into a comfort zone. Track your progress in a notebook or some productivity app. Stay accountable and find accountability partner. Forgive yourself for having one bad day, but know that 2 bad days start formation of a bad habit. Surround yourself with successful people and change your environment. Put certificates into your CV and find better paying job. I always go back to freelancing since keeping a job is hard for me. My journey of a YouTube creator started with 4 steps. Uploading videos to YouTube with an uploading schedule routine becomes habitual. It is not as hard as when I was first starting out with learning how to make videos. I have a smartphone and freeware for my sit-down advice videos. I also have USB microphone and other freeware too for creating reviews like these ones. Audiobooks are available to me for free on YouTube itself. I learned how to simplify whole process by not paying for video editing apps. The most available and only resources that I am using are my time and effort. Laptop, smartphone and USB microphone are cheaper than my time for sure. In July 2023, I published a lot of videos in 1 month by batching most of the content in June 2023. I structured whole process in my brain. Formation of good habits like uploading videos on YouTube more frequently becomes less and less of a hustle as time goes by, and it becomes enjoyment, something that I want to do and not something that I need to do. My brain shifts from needing something to truly wanting something and making it enjoyable. I do not need to upload the videos, I want to upload the videos. People achieve freedom by experimenting what works for them and what doesn't work for them. I was curious to learn what kind of the videos YouTube pushes the most to the viewers. Some of those videos are honest review videos. Since watching a couple of those videos, I craved to make review videos too. I started my YouTube channel with uploading short self-development advices, but rethinking forced me to try different strategy by starting to upload self-development book review videos. If this Atomic Habits review gets a positive response, then I will make more review videos. My reward will be to see as many likes, shares and subscriptions thanks to this video. I'm not thinking about estimated revenue or how to set up an AdSense at this point. I'm listening to Atomic Habits on an audio and I'm learning along the way. It is enjoyable routine which forms good habit of listening to the helpful audiobooks. Tell me what you think about my review of Atomic Habits in the comment section below. Give me your feedback so I could create a feedback loop for the upcoming videos. Which chapter do you like the most? What are your good habits and how did you form them?